Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Kidney Talkies. Today we have two special guests with us, Guru and Bisman. Guru is father of Bisman, who was discovered with nephrotic syndrome at the age of 2. It's so overwhelming to for entire family to learn that their toddler is facing such a disease like nephrotic syndrome. Unfortunately, many people don't have enough information about nephrotic syndrome. So I thought, why not actually introduce Guru and Bisman and tell them a little bit about their own story and how they had navigated to nephrotic syndrome. I would first like to welcome Guru. Hi, Guru.
Hey, hi Dipti. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity and kudos to you for taking this initiative.
Guru, could you please tell a little bit about yourself, who you are, and how did you learn about Bisman's condition?
Yeah, sure. Everyone, my name is Guru. Live in San Ramon, Bay Area. Originally from India, Hyderabad, and we've been now living in the U.S. This is my second stint in the U.S., but for close to 10 years now. And a big driver for us to move back to the US was because of Bisman's condition of nephrotic syndrome. So he was diagnosed at the age of 2. This was actually kind of an accidental diagnosis. Actually, my father, his grandfather, noticed that there was froth in the urine. Once Bisman just went and used the bathroom, and interestingly enough, me as a child, even I had nephrotic syndrome. So my father was pretty aware of at least the symptoms and the sign that triggered the getting us a quick urine test. So we started there, and that's when we diagnosed that he was running very high protein in his urine, and the next step was, of course, to find a child nephrologist and go from there. But I think it was my dad's awareness, having seen me go through the same condition as a child. He knew something was off when he noticed a lot of froth in the urine, and that triggered the next steps. And that's how he was diagnosed at around the age of 2.
And were there any other symptoms that you would like to actually address?
Yeah, I mean, typically, in a condition like nephrotic syndrome, um, there's edema in the body. The body starts swelling up. It's mainly to do with the fact that you still continue, without knowing, you continue a normal diet, and that has an impression. And we, as he was just 2 years old, we just thought that he was a very cute little chubby boy. But that was one thing that we noticed later. Um, there were symptoms that we went through as we went through relapses over the course. Definitely, one some of the glaring symptoms would be, even while on medication, lot of swelling around the genitalia. That's a very common symptom for nephrotic syndrome. Overall body swelling up, swelling of the eyes and the eyelids. That's a very common symptoms, and we would notice that you'd wake up in the morning with really swollen eyelids. So these were some of the symptoms that's very common, very easy to catch for kids and for patients of nephrotic syndrome.
Thank you so much, Guru, for sharing this important information because many people just miss out the symptoms. As you mentioned, edema was actually mistaken for a toddler to be a cute, chubby kid.
Yeah.
Bisman, could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself, who you are, and where do you study, and what are what are the advocacy efforts you are doing right now?
Sure. Hi, so my name is Bisman, and I'm a senior at Cal High. It's San Ramon, California. And I do work with NSF, Nephrotic Syndrome Foundation. That is my advocacy, that I go there as a counselor and I help families and other patients navigate through this diagnosis and help with how I overcame my challenges. Apart from that, I really enjoy playing tennis as well for my high school team. I play tennis. I have a younger brother, so he's something to deal with. But yeah, apart from that, that's a little.
So, talking about the challenges, Guru, I would like to know from you, as a parent dealing with the nephrotic syndrome kid, what are the things you had faced, and how did you overcome that? And any message you would like to share with the parents undergoing the same journey?
Yeah, it's I think the biggest challenge, especially when it's with kids, right? I mean, grown-ups understand the problem and they probably have more rigor and strictness when it comes to their diets and how they want to follow. But I think for a kid, I think the biggest challenge was the diet. When you are having nephrotic syndrome, you have to take steroids. One of the biggest thing when it comes to steroids and nephrotic syndrome is you have to really follow a very strict low sodium diet, and that as a kid, and less processed food or almost no processed food diet. So try telling that to a kid who is 3 or 4 years old, just starting to go to play group or elementary school. It's very difficult because they have events in the classroom, there are parties that happen. That's the age where we say that kids really enjoy anything that they want to eat, the body can handle it. And now to try and explain a kid on a regular basis that no, you cannot have those things, that is a big challenge. Honestly speaking, I think we were blessed that Bisman was a very mature kid at a very early age. We would have to tell him once, and he would go and tell his teachers that no, he cannot have it. We've had interactions where the teachers got very emotional to see a kid who is just 3 or 4 years old telling them no, he cannot have it because his health does not allow it. So I would say diet was the biggest one. We did deal with it in very creative ways. We would try and make homemade food, or everything that he wanted to crave from the outside. We would take healthy ingredients, make them at home, sometimes even put that in a bag of chips and pack it for him so that he just feels like, okay, you know what, I'm going also carrying a bag of chips to school, but it has homemade stuff in the right way versus high sodium stuff. In India is not very friendly when it comes to low sodium diet. That was again a driver that we wanted to move to the US so that he could get that. But it's about getting creative with the kids. And I followed his diet plan. That was one other thing, because it's difficult. It's never good that you're living in a household where you're making food that is just for the kid and only the kid is eating and everybody else is eating something else. So I supported him and I followed the exact same diet that he would follow. Be it low sodium, we tried vegan diet for a long time. We tried multiple things because you just try different things out. So I would say food and restrictions were the biggest challenge. My only advice is get creative. Don't try and see if the kid doesn't feel left out. At home, you are their biggest support. So just try to follow, at least having one person that is following their own journey and being with them, I think goes a long way. Second is the environment conditions. I think people who are in the US, it's still a lot better. In India, that was a big concern for us. He would relapse because of catching a cough or a cold because of the pollution. Um, we were lucky enough that my job allowed me an opportunity to come back to the US, and that made a big difference. I think the treatment over here, the fact that he was out here in the open, and he takes a very strong infusion even right now, which makes his body's immunity zero. Had he had taken that in India, he would have to remain in a clean room all the time, not even going out wearing a mask. Being here has allowed him to just grow like a normal kid while having that infusion. So these are the two biggest challenges. Last thing that I would say as a message is don't make the disease the center of the kid's world. I think we were very conscious about it. I would only talk to him about it where required, but I never let that come in the way of talking to him of what he can do, what he cannot do. Um, and I think that mindset over the years became his mindset. He went through a lot of physical transformations. One medicine had a lot of hair growth on his face, but we never discussed about it. We discussed about it, but as a fact, but nothing that made him stop doing anything. He was at the top of his cricketing career, not career, but cricketing stint at that time. He was amazing at cricket while being in that space. One medicine made him lose his eyebrows overnight. But he was very confident to just walk in the school. He said, "No, I don't want any liner. I feel okay this way. Do you feel okay this way?" And we gave him that confidence. And not, so the reality is, all I'm trying to say is, don't make that a daily conversation. Have a conversation, let the kid know what it is, let the kid know it is temporary, answer all the questions. Him and I were in all the infusions together. He used to ask me very tough questions, but talk about him with talk to the kids like they're normal kids. They still can do everything that any other kid does, and that automatically, I think, helps them grow out of it. I know, long answer, but it's been a long journey too.
I think your approach is very good, and coming back to our own initial message, the diagnosis do not define you,
Yeah.
because a lot of times, where I come from, India, if people hear that okay, you are having such health condition, people tend to discourage young kids or even adults. Oh, you should not do that. You should not do that. But that's not the right way out.
One last thing I would say is, never ever sympathize with the kid. He never got any shortcuts just because he had a condition. We never made it a sympathy thing. He was still expected to perform at like a normal kid would. He was still expected to follow the rules like a normal kid would. He would still be expected to contribute in the house like a normal kid would. I think that also goes a long way. We should not sympathize and say, "Oh, we're so sorry you have this." No, never was there a sorry moment. You have it, you deal with it, you move forward.
That's really practical approach. Bisman, could you tell us about your journey and challenges as a kid, and how did you tell your friends and teachers outside the home about your condition? And do you think, what kind of a support, if you have friends now, any new friend comes in, what kind of a support you would actually look out for from that person if you need any?
Yeah, so one of the biggest challenges was the diet, like what I had mentioned, that not being able to have like basic chocolates or chips or even just cookies, right? You just cannot have them, and then to having healthier alternatives made at home was something that I adapted to. And um then in my school, my second grade teacher, she was one of the biggest supports I've had, because in class when I we have to write our notes down, she knew about my diagnosis, so she used to come over, and because I used to feel sleepy in class due to my diagnosis, um she used to let me like take a nap while she used to come and write my notes in my book for me. And she used to sometimes even press my hands or my back, because there used to be a lot of body weaknesses as part of the medication that I was taking. So having that support from a teacher is really immense, and I still am in touch with her, and she still tries to help with the best ways she can by talking to me. And I have really close friends from India. I have really two close friends, and if whenever I went to their house to visit or play with them, their families were well aware, and they always made sure that my diet was being taken care of by the right nutrients or low sodium, and they would go out of their way to make sure that I was fed well as well. And my friends were very well aware of that. So having that support system really helped me, at least get through the initial phase.
Both of you have mentioned the healthier alternatives. Can you give an example? Because last time I have spoken to Bisman, he mentioned he really like Indian street food charts. So, what would be the healthier alternative Guru, you would prepare for him at home?
Um, I would say I think it's a very good question for my mom. She was the most creative one, and she enjoys cooking in general. But having remembered, like for example, maida or processed flour is not good. And usually if you eat, like he likes chaat and samosa, processed flour is not good. She would make it at home using wheat flour, and she would learn and try to make it using wheat flour, and make it not in oil but using ghee. That is a homemade ghee, and less sodium for him. For example, I remember once in Holi, he loves gujia a lot. So she learned the recipe of how to make gujia using wheat flour again. And instead of using sugar, which is processed, she used to use gur, and use that to actually to make it. So these are, and again, make it in ghee, and even at times do it in a roasted and more of a roasted way, and use less frying, for example. Same with potato chips. I think we made like cut it in the same way and make it just like the other chips, but use ghee and use very less salt make it. So these are just some of the alternatives. Same with, I would say, chicken. Make it at home so it is more roasted and boiled versus deep fried on the outside. Cookies were made at home using, again, wheat flour, more healthy ingredients, wheat flour, gur, and ghee, and that was used instead of using buying them from outside. So just find, like, I'm just taking a few examples, but if you really put your energy to it and take a look at something and say, how can I recreate it at home using some healthy ingredients, it's possible. Like oats atta was used to make it a little different. Just some examples.
Wow, that's actually really creative way. Because I mean, those are the things actually anyone who wants to live a healthier life should actually eat.
Honestly speaking, it may sound like it's a different diet, but the reality is it's a very healthy diet.
Yeah,
And I think to still till date, I kind of follow the same similar diet. It's just good for your body.
because having a low sodium diet naturally even helps everyone's kidneys and even the cholesterol and the high blood pressure levels. And
Yes.
actually, even after post transplant, I am also on a similar diet to avoid the processed food altogether, low sodium diet, and exercise a lot. I think we did not cover that part, but can you both of us tell that were you guys actually told anything about the physical activities you should do or not do?
Go ahead, Bisman. Why don't you talk about your...
I remember when I was on the very, very younger end of it, I used to do breathing exercises and yoga. So that was my initial stages. But then I picked up tennis. I used to go play tennis at the club in Hyderabad, local club. And seeing my grandfather and dad also play together also motivated me to also come watch and at least stay engaged actively. So mm, I stayed active in sports throughout so far. I stopped tennis. I started playing cricket in the after pandemic hit, but I got back to tennis before entering high school again to join the team, and I've been playing tennis on the team since. So my sports journey has been I've been physically active all throughout this diagnosis. That never stopped me from not going to a practice session or saying that I don't feel like going because of how I look or how I'm or just how I feel or I feel others might think about me. I just knew I had to show up and have fun.
Yeah, I think we never stop. Like I said earlier, it's very important to approach it as if you would approach any other kid normally. Now, I would make sure that his coaches, and now I can share it with him. I think we've come a long way, but I think I would definitely let his coaches know that if he gets a little tired sooner than any of the other kids, here is his diagnosis. Here is his condition. He takes steroids. His bones are weak because of the fact that he's actively on steroids. I would let his coaches know just on the side. And at the same time, I would let them know that, hey, I mean, push him like you would push any other student, but I just want you to be aware so that I don't want them to, I don't want them to, like, not be empathetic towards it. And I think that actually changed the whole game altogether, right? Just knowing, letting them know one on one and giving them, patiently explaining them what the condition is, what the diagnosis is, what is he going through. I think they also took care of the motivation aspect. They also started seeing that, oh my God, with everything happening, this kid is coming here and putting in so much effort. So they would also, encourage and be aware that if he complains that he's feeling tired or his hands are hurting, it's not that a kid is being lazy. He genuinely has a condition. So I think that also has helped.
Yeah, that's actually one of the common side effects of the steroids, which most people actually complain this decrease the bone density a lot.
Mhm.
And I personally experienced that myself on the daily basis. And now I've like, okay, I have to be take the steroids for my life entirely. So just accept it and just blame it for anything.
Yeah, yeah, and I think now as he's growing up, he's not on steroids, thankfully. But I think if anybody's on steroids, it's a long journey. But every day, just working on muscle strengthening exercises, could be anything, could be just resistance bands, because the only way you can take away load off your bones is by building your muscles. And it is a long journey. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of time, but it's just like one day at a time, doing that one exercise at a time. That helps a long way as well.
And now, Bisman, could you tell a little bit about your future goals, because you're already in the high school, what you want to become, and you were one of the participants and actually winner in the healthcare innovation hackathon, about the app you had created and your motivation behind creating the app.
Sure. So I am looking for a future in the business and entrepreneurship field. And one of the reason, and also app building, I like coding. So our app that we won our first hackathon with came from the inspiration came from the NSF camp that I attended, the Nephrotic Syndrome Foundation camp, and I got to again first for the first time met families and their kids and their diagnosis, and the primary deal being the diet, and how there isn't one set cure for nephrotic syndrome. So this all about experimenting different diets, different medications, different durations of time, different infusions. So the simplest idea, even we have mentioned the diet all throughout this podcast, but it was our app helped people with any diagnosis navigate how they can eat different menu items that from specific restaurants, or a set of grocery store items that you can buy from a simple search. After you input your health profile, it just gives you a simple result of these are the 5 to 6 items you can eat from this restaurant, or these 10 things, 20 things you can buy from Safeway, for example. And it would give you a match score of how well it matches your health profile, and details on how much nutrition values it has. And it was a simple app, but it's really impactful, probably because then that got us probably the win also. Yeah.
Yeah, Ayura is an amazing app, and we wish you all the best with the future plans for Ayura.
Thank
Now,
you.
can let's ask some little bit questions about yourself. You mentioned about you want to become to venture into business and entrepreneurship. Any colleges which you are aiming for?
I'm aiming for UC Berkeley. They have a good Haas School of Business, Haas School of Entrepreneurship. And they also have and another UCs, UC Davis and UCLA. These are the top three UCs that have good business schools. So they are my top three. And getting a first hand experience through summer programs at Babson. Like I went this summer at a college for 2 weeks, got a little bit of experience on how actually attending professor classes works, and navigating through a college campus on your own, making sure that you're going to classes on time, basic things like that. And getting take a part in a job as well, to understand how the business aspect of it works, and how we get students enrolled, and how we try to retain them, how we communicate with the families that are trying to get them enrolled. So some communication and leadership building skills that I developed along this summer to help me further pursue my goal.
And what are your favorite vacation spots, or anywhere you want to really go and have not been there?
There is only one spot, and that's my hometown, in my home in Hyderabad. Any point in time, I would definitely pick that, because I lived there for 7 years before moving here. And anytime I want to leave the United States, it would probably be because I want to go to Hyderabad, India, back home. So that's my one spot.
And what are your favorite food items to eat now?
Now that I have a free hand, I can eat anything, but I still do enjoy chaat. I love aloo paranthas, and I love butter chicken as well.
Nice. And Guru, I think you mentioned that you have one of the siblings of Bisman as well. So I want to hear from your side, because usually when one of the kid is battling with a disease, other kids usually feel left out. So as a parent, what were your challenges dealing with his brother?
Um, it was a very good question. Interesting question. I'm just trying to reflect back. I I I don't think that was a challenge, because I mean the age gap between the two of them is 6.5 years. And the reality is that Bisman himself is a very, as much as they fight, he is a very doting elder brother. I think he's more worried about him all the time, and even today, even till date, he's more worried about his younger brother's future and his habits more than I am. So I think even growing up, um, I don't think he ever felt. Yeah, there were moments where, like, I had to go take him and be with him, and for infusion, where I'm staying with him in the hospital overnight and stuff, and then we would come back. But it would just be just having that consciousness to be to giving him that time and attention, also like the solo time and attention, and explaining it to him that, hey, here is a reason why I can't take you, but he has to go. I think only once, just so that he understands and observes it. I think only once he did come to the hospital, just because it's a visual thing for a young, very, very little kid, right? To say, yeah, they're not just making it up, but he really has to go do something. But apart from that, like I said, the environment at the home has been very normal around at least the kids and playing and such. So he is an integral part between the three of us. So actually, even he makes sure he's so naughty. He makes sure that he's not left out. Let me put it this way.
And Bisman, I would like to hear from your side. When you actually got a brother, what were your initial feelings? And then, anytime you wanted to do something with him, and how did you explain? Because he would be definitely eating chocolates.
Yeah. In fact, it's funny how I got to know I got a brother, because I always wanted a brother. So I used to pray every day when my mom was pregnant that I really hope I get a brother. And I was asleep at home, and my grandfather actually got to know that the baby had been delivered. So when he got home, my grandfather told me, this is in India, he told me that I got a sister, right? Jokingly, because he knew how much I wanted a younger brother. But eventually, when I went to the hospital, I saw that it was actually I got a younger brother, and I started dancing, and I was really happy. So first, like getting to know that I got a younger brother was really like amusing and exciting. Then I I knew that because of the age gap, my body, like got more used to what can eat, right? Mm, Saying like 8 years old, 7 years old, and then I was more into it. I was like, I had tried these diets. I knew what food I had to eat already, right? So when my brother used to have a chocolate, um, I I would have I would I was probably the one who gave it to him, because I'm like, I cannot have it. Here you go. So that was probably the case.
So, would you actually improve Ayura to improve the eating habits of your brother? That's my question. Sorry.
I don't know how much he will trust an application that I made, but first place. But hopefully, if he's really dedicated and improving his eating habits, I'm sure he can put it to the right use.
Thank you so much, Bisman and Guru, for your time today and sharing your experience. I hope it inspires many of the families battling nephrotic syndrome, because they don't know where to go, how to actually even navigate this entire condition. Any last message, Guru, as a parent, you would like to share with other parents?
um, the only thing that I would say is, you need to hang in there. Nephrotic syndrome is something that's a long journey, and read up the research yourself. I have done a lot of reading up on the research. His doctor used to joke around, it still jokes to say, I know you're not a doctor, Guru, but you can become a child nephrologist because of amount of reading that you have done. It helps not just knowing what's out there and sometimes even challenging the doctors, but it also helps about around your awareness as a parent. And just stay positive. And like I said, don't sympathize with the kids. Treat them as normal as you can. I think that goes a long way, because you don't want a child who over the years grows out of nephrotic syndrome, but because he has been so cushioned, and you've raised them with a lot of sympathy, that they now suddenly are not able to handle the world. I think that to me is one of the biggest learnings, is just treat them like any normal kid. Yeah, there's a little kidney disease. They'll come out of it. They have to fight it, but everything else is amazing about that child. They're just a normal kid. They have a great, immense brain power. They are there to be successful in the world. and you need to prepare them for that. That's it.
And Bisman, any message you would like to give to the kids?
Yeah, I know that a lot of the patients are younger, but I feel like you need to prioritize yourself over the diagnosis. A little bit about what my dad said. Understanding that your habits or your likes, your hobbies cannot and should not be impacted because of this, and you still have a normal regular day to spend like a regular kid, and it's just a few minor side effects that you have, but having that maturity level to understand that these are the things I'm not supposed to do, but at the same time all of these opportunities that I have, I can make the most of them. So I feel like the kids should definitely look at the opportunities that they have and make the most of them, and not feel that, oh, I have this. I don't feel pity on yourself, right? Just remember to be grateful that you're still here. You're still here. You should be happy and enjoy your moment.
Thank you so much, Bisman, for such an inspiring message. And if anybody wants to volunteer with Nephrotic Syndrome Foundation, they can go to their website, and they have a lot of interesting programs as well. In our next episode, I'll be actually having a podcast with Andy Calvé from Nephrotic Syndrome to walk through the entire journey of what is nephrotic syndrome, as well as the mission behind the Nephrotic Syndrome Foundation. Thank you everyone for staying tuned, and hope you really like, share, and share this inspiring story of Bisman with everyone around you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.